And we are.
Are we on the air?
We're on the air.
My new approach to the show opening. Hello, everybody. What's going on? Welcome to the Wes Smith Variety ShYo. We're just starting. What are we? We're starting today. We were going to start on time at like 5 o'clock. That's Pacific Standard Time. But our special guest, who we're yet to announce, it was having traffic problems, technical difficulties, maybe.
Technical
Who knows? Does anyone really know?
No.
But here we are, and thanks for hanging out. And we got some fun stuff we're going to talk about. And so Kelly, Agent 137, reporting from the boat in New York. We were so what do you call it? We were talking about so many things while we were waiting. We just figured
really engrossing conversation, and then we're like, why are we not doing this?
We turned it on and that. But that being the case, while our guest is working their way in, and Agent 137 is on technical assistance, I guess I can get some of those standard things out of the way. Let's see. Upcoming events. We have absolutely nothing to announce. Kelly and I have established that. Actually, there's some awesome things coming up, but neither one of us can talk about them. So sorry.
Super secret.
Yeah, super secret. So unfortunately, we have to keep that zipped. Let's see. Maybe a little bit about what had recently happened. So let's see. I just did Party with United by Bass. That was awesome. Called We Love Bass. That's a party here in San Diego. That was fun at the Balboa Park. Young Colin Cole Vassallo played. We just did a Juice Day Out party. Cole and Evlo and who else? Maddie Ladd. And we had
our
DJ
last variety show guests.
Yeah, we had DJ Ideal as a kind of 1 hour guest there, and then the rest of us just tag team all day. We barbecue, cooked chicken sriracha honey chicken wings, things like that. Pretty killer. Came into town, so that was just this weekend past, and my mother is still visiting. And for those of you that don't know or have never met my mother, she's like many moms, she's awesome. But of course, my mom's the most awesome.
Yes. Besides my
Agent 137 has met my mom. She's pretty cool on the mom cool scale. So I took her to a concert, like maybe a couple hundred people or something at this place called the Belly Up on Sunday with some friends up north of here in Encinitas. And there was like 3 different acts, like not like any pop headliner kind of thing. It's a couple hundred person night on a Sunday there. I think they max that place at about 500 or 600. But so this was like half capacity. Some local bands, all California, I think. And quite a variety, a little bit of hip hop, ska, some kind of hippie, sort of spiritual stuff going down. It's pretty cool. A lot of ocean noises and things like, Enya. I don't know how else to describe it. Maybe like Enya versus Bjork versus Paris Hilton or something. It was an interesting combo, and it was cool. And anyway, so my mom was there with us, and my friend's husband said, he goes, what's up, wing mom?
Is she the wing mom?
I hadn't heard that phrase before, but that was pretty cool. A wing mom. So that's how that was, and it was awesome. And then let's see, what else did we do? Then after that, we went camping, and that was pretty cool. We were camping up in Encinitas, which is just north of where I live down here in San Diego. It's also in San Diego, but it's like an area, a beach. And we went camping there for 2 days. And we were going to go to this place. Anybody who's just curious about San Diego, I guess that's part of my conversation right now, is just big upping San Diego and fun things to do here if you make it out here. Slight backtrack. Mike Basket from Seattle was down here. He played. He did a little special guest set at the Juice Day Out, which was fun. We had a good time, just keeping it kind of loose. I wouldn't say open decks, but we definitely had 3 or 4 people roll in and fill in some of the rotations. It was fun. And then what was I gonna say? Yeah, so back up Encinitas, talking about North County. It's called North County area up there. So we were gonna go to the there's a place up there called the Flower Fields, and they grow all these flowers, and that's kind of cool. Checking that out, but it was closed because it's kind of winterish time, a little cold. So we went to the San Diego Botanic Gardens instead.
Oh, nice.
And, around, hung out in the bamboo fields for a while, did some Zen, poses, and kind of sat on the benches and contemplated life at the tea house, things like that.
What? So why don't you tell everyone what Juice Day Out is?
Well, that was our fourth party, and it's just it's our daytime party here in San Diego. So that was the fourth one, and yeah, it's just our daytime party thing here. We haven't done those parties anywhere else.
That was on the beach, or
this one was yeah, you saw those flyers.
Yeah.
This one was yeah, this one was at a place. We had done a few of them at a restaurant that had an outdoor space, a real nice like coastal Mexican restaurant. At a rooftop, we did up there once, and then we did it down the bottom floor once where they had all open windows and stuff. And then this one we did at a place called Campland on the Bay, and it's a campground. There's some pictures out there, Facebook and stuff. If you're interested, just type in Juice Day Out and look at those couple events on Facebook. You can see those. But yeah, they've been cool. They've had, we have like they're medium size, I guess, for a daytime party here. We've had like 50 to 100 people, that kind of thing, roll through. So yeah, it's a good time. And the Bomb Shelter guys do the sound, who are also part of Monarch. And on that note, Kelly, asking what that party is, I think we're going to release a couple, do a couple releases with 3 or 4 songs on the releases that are kind of music of the style that we're really playing there quite a bit, which is like definitely house, bass house, some breakbeat house, if you want to call it that. And I don't know if I'd say certainly not chill vibes, but definitely lower tempos than breaks are typically. So even the breaks were like kind of playing at 122, 124, like in that range. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Versus the kind of traditional, 128, 130, 132 breakbeat bangers. Yeah. So what about you, Kelly? What's been going on your side? What's up? This may just turn into the Agent 137 Wes Smith Variety ShYo today.
We haven't had one of those.
I don't think ever.
Ever, no. I think just doing the whole boat life and doing a little bit of traveling back and forth, going to school and waiting until Christmas time, New Year's Eve to go out and do a little bit more traveling and all that. But yeah, nothing.
Awesome. What are you doing in school? What's going on in school?
Right now I'm in a production class and I am in a theory class. So
production of what?
Production of electronic music.
What are y'all doing in there? What's that like for people that want to go down an education route for music production? What's yours like?
Well, I go to Berkeley online. So it's just like a course of action to learn music theory, composition, sound design, and mixing, mastering, and so forth. So it's yeah. So I go part-time and I work full-time and I work for Juice, and it's hard. It's really, really hard because it's not just we were actually talking about this earlier. We were talking about people going into the path of production, but it's really difficult.
and me bursting your bubble and saying I don't think I would recommend that anybody does it.
Meanwhile, I'm paying for an education, but that's okay. I'm one of those types of people that I'm always in some kind of education course or something. Like I go down these paths and I'm like, I really want to learn about this, and then I do that, and then I want to learn about something else. So I don't know. For me, I already have a degree. I've paid that off. And so this is my second degree, my second wave of life or whatever degree that I'm going for. And it's something I think that I'm really interested in, and I don't mind doing it. I think the first time I went to college, it was like, you have to go to college and do this, and that was okay. But I don't really use that in everyday life. So I think this is something that's more for my knowledge base, and to know how to create music. And yeah, I do think it's like kind of one of those thankless job type things, but I'm okay with that. I want to know what theory is.
I think what we were saying before, and just so we kind of recapture part of what we were talking about, I wasn't that dismal about it in terms of don't anybody do it. But what I was saying was that, like when you said thankless, I mean, I think it's there's definitely a lot of there's a lot of people that really enjoy the results of music that gets produced. So that I think is first and foremost fair to say, and that's really and that's an awesome part about it. And I think that's a piece of it that probably anybody enjoys, whether that's the reason you do it or not. You know, recognition is kind of a human.
Right, but I mean, I'm not gonna buy a tower in the sky off of
yeah. But I think where I was coming from was, you know, I run into a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds, and when people they kind of want to dabble in it, or like they just want to know what kind of gear to buy, or and I'm always happy to talk about ways to get started, which is why I asked you, like, your method is very different than mine was, and so your method probably can move a little quicker, especially given that the technology is different nowadays. But nonetheless, it's still a commitment. It's a lot of work.
Yours, I mean, from what I gleaned from us being in the same space for a long time, you were doing it more by trial and error, and really just learning. Yeah. So I think that, like,
a lot of self-taught courses, like I shouldn't say self-taught, but a lot of courses, like
going on the internet and
yeah, when I got into like Ableton stuff, it was a lot of stuff with like Warp Academy and Sonic Academy, and structured classes, but self-run, I guess, maybe that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
And I think at one point I was just like, I'd rather pay to have something that has a curriculum and I don't have to go and search for it, and just something where I can stay focused, because I personally can get really lost in the details and really lost into the internet. Like, if I'm looking for something, I'll be like, oh, shiny, oh, that looks good, oh, maybe I'll do that one, and then it might not be exactly something that
you actually get some kind of certificate of completion doing it the way you're doing it. And so I've never done it that way, so I couldn't speak to that, but that possibly has other benefits like any other official certificate would have from perhaps a credible institution.
I'll have a Bachelor of Arts.
Yeah, or the networking with the people that, there's a different.
I have a dub spot.
Yeah, there's a different camaraderie and networking with your classmates, right? That's different than doing self-run courses.
Right. You have interaction with a professor.
If you really want to work in that industry, perhaps for an organization or a business, there are a lot of opportunities to do that, including even teaching and other things. So I think those are all places where having that sort of credible, certificate from a place like Berkeley College of Music, or even a Dub Spot or a Scratch Academy. I mean, they all have some validity to them, versus sort of self-paced self-learning, right?
Well, I mean, to some people, yes, and then the way that you did it, I mean, you obviously have gone. Oh, we have him. Look, I see a pillow. There's a pillow.
He made it.
Here.
Hello.
Bebe has made it. Our special guest. We'll just act like it's. Well, all we have to do is just act like daylight savings time never happened.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's we call that Cuban time in Miami, but
I like it, man. I like it. Usually we end up, that's like some California time or hippie time or something. I don't know, but we'll take it, man. Kelly and I have just been chatting away, dude. So welcome, man.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to be on here. Yeah, totally.
How are you?
Man, well, the good part is, since we really don't have any established time limit, I guess in theory it doesn't really matter when our guest shows up, does it, Kelly? We can just start this way in general, and then when they are able to show up, they show up. That's awesome. So Bebe has arrived. We didn't say you were going to be here before. We just started talking and said we were going to have a guest show up at some point. And so you're here. It's awesome. The captain of the ship known as Breaksgiving, and so many other interesting things. Let's see, you and I and Kelly know each other different ways. I mean, I certainly know you through mutual friends in Miami, and a little bit through your DJing and having played both with you and for your party before. Burning Man, played with you there, and things some history there, kind of interesting between you and I. What about you, Kelly? How do you guys know each other?
From Orlando to I guess when you played in Orlando, but there was a show that we played like a week later. Remember that 2 weeks that I spent in Florida?
Yeah.
Played all those
Yes.
shows. Yeah. What party? Do you remember what party that was?
Fuck, I don't.
I think it was Project Mayhem at the right.
Nah, I don't know. Or maybe I was there or something, or maybe I passed by. I happened to be in town, and you were there. Yeah, I think that's probably where it was. Maybe, yeah.
And I've never seen you at Burning Man. We need to change that.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to run into Wes and Connie, Icon, and Nick. I ran into everybody last year. The year before, I came on a whim, and I didn't really.
Yeah, you were there. Like you decided the day before that you're gonna go, and you're like, I'm out.
Yeah, I got noticed shortly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Kelly wasn't there last year. Well, this year, but not the last year. So right. Yeah, that makes sense. So before we get cranking too far, you got a lot of things going on, man, and maybe just drop a quick tell people like, where can they go online to find you? What's the right way to search for you? Things like that, so they can go check out the various things you do.
Right. So, like, should I just start saying URLs and stuff, maybe?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, like if there's a spot for your breaker b-boy stuff that's better, or a spot for your your label, a spot for your artist page, that stuff.
Right. There's just so many things, There's so many things. So yeah. So let me just go down the list. Like, a lot of the kids nowadays really like Instagram. So and on Instagram, I'm at Bebe Breaks. That's Bebe Breaks, obviously, and yeah, that's pretty much how I am. Pretty much on all my socials. My SoundCloud is /Bebe Breaks. On Facebook, my artist page is /Bebe Breaks. And as far as with Breaksgiving, with the label and the monthly event series, same thing. Facebook /Breaksgiving or at Breaksgiving IG. So it's pretty self-explanatory, user-friendly with that. And then as anything pertaining to to the b-boying and the b-boy crew stuff, is a Ground Zero Crew. So Facebook /Ground Zero Crew, on Instagram, Ground Zero Crew _b-boys. Or groundzerocrew.com. We even have a website for the crew. So yeah, it's hard to juggle so many things, no?
Dude, that's partly why I was kind of stoked to, like we've crossed, like I said, both coasts and various places, but you do a lot of stuff, man. Like that's all, certainly a lot of it is very artistic, but I guess probably one of the biggest, and even Russia, dude, we share that in common. We both played in Russia, for Lady Wax and that kind of thing. And I think that might be, before we really actually did any, maybe, I know that I remember we connected because you were going there to do some b-boy related stuff, I think teaching or something. And I want to hear a little bit, share a little bit more about that too. But I think that was the reason you were going there, or just in the vicinity. And then you and I connected online. I mean, we knew each other, but we connected online. You were going there, and I think I had maybe just done a mix for her or something. So there was a connection, and then like I hooked you up, or we just got you connected. And then that actually ended up being good for both of us, because you ended up playing there before I did. And then shortly after, maybe 6 months later, I was doing a trip to other places, kind of like you were. And then I was able to go through there, and that was a crazy experience, wasn't it, man?
Man, yeah, like, so totally, yeah, I'm totally with you right there. First of all, yeah, like having both played, obviously, or Miami is Miami, and then but experiencing stuff like Burning Man, and then like Russia, like for me, it was like without a doubt, I still gotta say it was probably like the best gig ever. I think Burning Man is like, it's a different thing too, but I had the time of my life in Russia. I thought it was just so like surreal, really. And then also I got there a little bit earlier into St. Pete, and I ended up doing her radio show with her too, and that was awesome too, because I watch her show at the crib, whatever, and I'm just like, wow, I remember this room, and just watching it on the computer, and now I'm in this room. So it's really cool. It's really surreal.
And y'all can find, anybody listening, you can find that set too. You can go to I think if you just Google like Bebe, like on Lady Wax, like I think it's Record Club is what that studio is actually called, right? Or the radio station.
Yeah, it's damn. I really hope I don't. I really hope
Google.
I hope I'm saying it wrong.
Yeah,
radio record, or record radio. Oh,
it's
man.
like Lady Wax at Record Club or Record Club Radio Record.
394.
But you can definitely go find the videos. I'm looking at them right now. If you just Google like you know, obviously Lady Wax Record Club, Bebe Breaks, you know, you can find it there.
Yeah, it's actually the easiest way to find it is because the name of her show is Lady Wax in the Mix, so DA. So Lady Wax in the Mix, and it's episode number 307.
There you go, Lady Wax in the Mix. 307. Nice. And there's no shortage of pictures of her.
No, definitely not.
If you want to see who we're talking about, if you don't know her, she's a trippy, awesome personality, and that was a cool connection for us to have going there. I mean, it's a really unique thing, dude, to even go there. And in fact, like right now, the conditions, you know, I mean, it's fine to go there, I think, but you know, I probably didn't know when I went there. I don't know about you, dude, but I definitely wasn't paying as much attention as, you know, to like the whole U.S.-Russia relations, whatever, at that time. And I think a lot of that got maybe put more in the public because of the elections and all that happened since you and I went there. And now, but it seems more restrictive, possibly, to go there now.
Yeah, I don't really know about that. I mean, you know, like I've actually been to Russia a few times. Like that year that I ended up going there and playing with her, like was kind of like in the sort of like in the dawn of that like whole like the whole thing, the war with Ukraine and Crimea.
Yeah.
And one thing I'll notice, I'm trying to get off topic here and get so political, but one thing I noticed is that like U.S. media spins it one way, and then like BBC spins it another way, and then like over there they have it their way. And then when you go there, you realize that, yo, these people are just the same as us. They like music, they like breakbeats. You know, I have a lot of b-boy friends, like a really big b-boy fan base in Russia. So I had actually been there. That was like my fourth time there actually, but like now this was my first time in St. Pete, but I'd been to Moscow. A few other cities there, so I got like a wide array of like the vibe of Russia, and like honestly, like it's like, you know, it's not, I guess, just, you know, with all that, to summarize all that is, you know, like don't buy into the media hype. Like go there and meet these kind of people, meet these Russian people. Like they're freaking awesome.
I mean that I totally agree with. Like, I mean, I feel the same. I mean, I only went to St. Petersburg, and just for anybody listening, to be clear, we're talking about St. Petersburg, Russia.
Not Florida.
Yeah. No, because I've had people, like, if I just say St. Petersburg or whatever, they'll you know, they get confused if they just hear that and don't hear the rest of the conversation. But yeah, I would totally agree with you, man. I you know, I went out running, you know, this by myself, and you know, like there was no, like, I mean, it was all cool, man. There's like the art around there. They took me out one day and we toured around you know, various like attractions and historical things, and we ate, you know, several times. It was really awesome stuff, and just really cool, like eclectic place St. Petersburg was. I mean, very artsy. Like to me, it was very like, you know, it was almost like, it was pretty laid back, it seemed. Of course, I couldn't understand the Russian, so I would have no idea what was being talked about around me in general. Just the general vibe of conversations that you might overhear if you knew the language, but everybody seemed cool and not like anxious or in a rush or anything weird, you know, and lots of nicely designed, you know, very artistic places, and some very traditional, you know, in a traditional, you know, I guess, you know, Russian, I don't know what subset of Russian architecture, but some clearly very old and saying traditional, and then some very new, you know, and it was a neat mix, you know, and yeah, I just thought that was cool. It was really cool being like buildings that were like, you know, hundreds, if not older years, and then clearly older than our country, and then at a minimum, and then buildings that were brand new and really, but well blended into the overall St. Petersburg kind of, you know, skyline, if you want to call it that, right? It was a cool place.
Yeah, totally.
I would assume that it would be like a huge culture shock. So it's not as I live in a predominantly Russian neighborhood where I live now. So I feel like it's a little bit of a culture shock for me to live where I live. So when you go there, it's not as different as you would think it would be. Is that what you're saying?
I mean,
well, I think what Bebe was saying, like the spin that gets put on it in media is definitely different than certainly my experience, and I think his in all four cases in different cities, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, so it's more like the spin versus the reality when you're on the ground.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, so I mean, you would think right now that it's like, that you shouldn't go. Well, and here's a good example. Like, when I don't know if have any of y'all seen that documentary Icarus that came out like within the last year?
Mm-hmm.
And so they revealed the whole Russian Olympic just the whole Russian
I heard about that. I heard about
sponsored athletic program and all the doping.
Right.
So the documentary is good, but then if you go online and like read about, and you look at reviews and chatter about that documentary, it's clearly a lot of bashing and, mistrust and distrust and theft. And, it doesn't help that like there's all this crime coming from there and all that. But again, it's like, especially nowadays, it could be a very small percentage of the country that's doing or participating in those kinds of activities that you may not agree with. And clearly you don't see that when you go there. Certainly I didn't, so kind of interesting in that way. But speaking of your b-boy, career, I'll just call it, and involvement there, I think you've been doing that like for how long have you been doing that?
It's 1994.
Damn, dude. So you've been doing that longer than DJing for sure. Right?
That's right.
Yeah. So how did you get into that, and what was like your, like what's that been like? Where's that taking you, man? I know it's all over the place.
Right. So I started in 1994 in Miami, Florida. I was 12 years old, and I would go to the skating rink, and in the middle, everybody would breakdance. And from that floor, like pretty much like Miami's generation of b-boys like spawned, like 90s generation of b-boys. And I kept practicing, and a few years later, I taught my two younger brothers who also breakdance, and formed Ground Zero, which was our crew. And we had chapters going on. I'd started breaking in Miami. I lived a little while in Miami. I moved to Puerto Rico for a few years, started a chapter there, moved back to Miami, just battling. It was really while we were in Puerto Rico that was like, wow, like really transformative years of just being bored and stuff like that, I guess. Yeah. But just really stayed focused on that. And we came back to Miami, started like the scene started kind of changing, started getting more into like organized competitions type things, and I started competing. And but by the time before I was 21, I was already an international champion. I won battles in Japan. I went to so many countries, even like even back then when I was young, more than most adults get to visit on a lifetime because of breaking. Meet people all over the world. So I was doing that, and I just did that for many years. Our crew was definitely one of the most influential crews in the b-boy game. A lot of the moves we created now are like common ground for everybody now. So I kept competing for many years. I also organized my own events. And invited other b-boys to come. I do an event called Who Can Roast the Most. We're doing one in Denver this weekend.
I saw that, dude. I was looking at some videos.
Yeah, I've done 26 those all over the world. I've done those in Japan. Yeah, Who Can Roast the Most. Yeah, it's kind of a different b-boy concept where we do like 10-round exhibition battles, kind of no holds barred. We used to like use it with people who had like history and beef and stuff like that. And, it was a really fun, classic, iconic event of the time. So I've been able to travel with breaking to over 26 countries, and it's been an amazing journey, and it's been awesome to just. The best part about it, was to just go to different places in the world and meet people who were like, wow, we started breakdancing watching your VHS tapes and your videos. Like, this is, why we, that to me makes me feel so happy, and just like, wow, like some boys from Miami inspired people from all the way in this, all the other side of the world, from Japan, Korea, wherever. And it's been
that's crazy. Yeah, no, I mean, it's awesome, dude, because you like, that's a whole, I mean, even, it certainly goes along with, the music that you like, but it certainly was before that for you in terms of getting into it.
Well, yeah, you know, the funny thing is, like, they really just sort of intersect. They're the same sides of the same coin for me. Like, I started breakdancing in these skating rinks to, you know, Miami bass music, freestyle, like early electro, like stuff like that. And, you know, I was there for the Florida rave scene, and I was going to these raves and breaking to a lot of the raves in the 90s, and I would show up with my crew and go. We would dance for some artists sometimes, and we actually danced these last 2 years at Ultrafest for Rabbit in the Moon. So
you did that as Ground Zero crew?
Yeah, we did that as Ground Zero crew, which was like a dream come true for me when I was going to Ultra, like the first ones, and see Rabbit in the Moon. Like, man, they need us up there breaking with them. Like, this would be awesome. So it actually got to happen, and so. It's been pretty amazing. Now these days, I mostly it's been like like 23 years now. So I mostly judge and teach. I don't really compete anymore. The competitive landscape has sort of transformed into something I'm not really like in entire agreement with. But now we also have.
How is that, like, without anything you don't want to talk about? But how has it changed? I'm curious. Like, how can you characterize what it was and what it is now?
Okay, so what it was back then, and especially in my era too, like you know, like you had to basically be original and come up with your own stuff to really like get respect and make an impact on the scene. In 2008, I was given the Spy Award by Rocksteady Crew, which is like, it's the highest honor of a b-boy. Like, only 12 other people have it. There's only like 90s generations that are like the most influential, that have contributed to the vocabulary of breaking. Nice. So I was really focused on making that kind of impact with my breaking, and just being creative and making up new freezes and new ideas and burns and just different energy. And the same people I liked were doing that. Back in the day, like, you know, biting was a big issue. If you were biting people's styles, not only would you not get respect, but you could also get your ass kicked. Like, you know, it was rough. Yo, hip hop is not like the rave scene, yo. Let me tell you. Like,
yeah, like copy paste, not allowed.
Yeah. Hip hop is crazy, and yes, it's a crazy animal. So, so it was just really different. Now it's kind of like you know, it's sort of like kind of a global acceptance, but it's really kind of sad because you don't really see much originality anymore. It's become sort of like tricking or like something like that. Like, you know, it's just like people are just like biting it's like a concoction of different moves and tricks that they didn't create, and some like dynamic power moves. You know, that's very valid on an athletic level, but it's lost its artistic level, and it's sort of like you see very few dancers that exhibit an understanding and a comprehension of the importance of having your own style and your own style. I only really honestly see it, and I travel as a judge worldwide to many countries, and sometimes it's nauseating because you're just like, dude, everybody looks the same. So it's just like, yo, what is this here? It's not who can spin the most times or who could balance on the one hand. It's, you know, it's not just.
And you really start to see that because you've got all this experience, plus you're seeing it in different countries. So it's kind of like you see the lack, perhaps, of originality
transform into what it is now. So in a lot of ways, it's kind of like, you know, you just sort of like, you look back and you're like, damn, how did things get like this? Wow, and we're definitely not like this back in my day. So not to sound like an old man, but there is a lot of, I mean, there's not a lot, but there are some countries that I really see this in, and Russia is one of them. Russia, Ukraine, like those dancers from there, and certain parts in Europe too as well. They still have dancers that are, they have influences, but they're pushing the envelope. They're using their head, and they're creating new ideas. And
where would you go? Where, like, you know, someone listening right now, you know, like where would you say that it would be a good like spot? There's always info sites and things. Like, what are some of the? Is there any that you can think of that people could go check out that would fall into kind of?
Yeah, I wouldn't endorse anybody's site right now. Some of the garbage is floating out there now, to be honest.
Well, maybe even just any dancers that you know that you've liked, whether past or present. You know, like to learn more. You know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you know, man, there's just so much in breaking. All I'll say is like, you know, like sort of like do your history and look into like you know, like a lot of the 90s generation was really influential. The because of a lot of the crews in the 90s, because of the 90s generation, it influenced so many crews that the moves that are around now are a big deal from this, and it can show you sort of like the elevation and evolution of everything.
It's like Rocksteady Crew and Crazy Legs and things like that.
Right. Well, that's like, you know, like that's an older gen too. But yeah, you definitely want to do that, and like, you know, look at your history, and also look at, you know, some man, you want to look at, there's so many people, like, you know, around the world too that contributed to this too. You can look at some of the Europeans, like Battle Squad, and so, you know, like for as far as 90s crews go, you can look at like Style Elements, Lions Design, Ground Zero, Happy Coral. You know, there's a lot of different skill methods. There's a lot of different crews, you know, that have sort of contributed to a lot of what we see right now. And I feel like they don't really get as much credit as they should, because now, like, the focus has been taken away from sort of like the raw essence, and like sort of moved into this extreme sport direction. You know,
it's very. I mean, the stuff I've watched recently is you know, meaning like last 3 to 5 years, is super athletic for sure. And I felt like some of that was influenced because of some of these, like, you know, televised dance shows, you know, where the wow factor is like, has to be immediate, right? Like, you're going to get 3 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever those routines are to really wow, you know, an audience that largely it's not the audience in the actual auditorium with those people that are making the vote, you know, the win. It's like the TV watching audience. And so in order to wow somebody who's like, basically, you know, you're basically doing dance moves to fight with, you know, the person sitting on the couch that's got their phone in one hand, an iPad next to them, and then maybe the TV. So if you're not going bananas for the whole 2 minutes, it's pretty hard to keep that person's attention and get that vote. And it seems to me like that's influenced a lot of things for sure, but probably this kind of thing as well, you know?
Yeah. It's you know, it's a complex animal, man. But anyways,
well, speaking of hip hop, because you mentioned it, and I know there's a lot of complexities, and clearly it's been a huge part of your life and still is, but I was going to mention something because I have a really good friend in, he's going to be on here like in the future at some point, but, you know, DJ Love out of Texas, out of Dallas, and he doesn't b-boy himself, but he's always DJed and supported that culture outside of just his love for breakbeat music. And I remember just kind of reminding myself when I would chat with him that so many people, including myself, I forget sometimes when the term hip hop is used, like what that really means. And I think I went and looked it up again real quick to make sure I didn't screw this up, but I think that the original sort of the 4 elements was like rapping, DJing, beatboxing, and breaking. Is that like kind of still the way people look at the original definition?
Yeah, pretty much spot on. Like that's the hip hop is about the 4 elements and all that.
Okay.
But you know, it's nothing new. It's just a name for something that was created at a certain time, but it's nothing new. It's like you know, it's like instead of the DJ, they had the people playing bongos before, like tribal drums. Instead of the graffiti, they had hieroglyphics or other art. Instead of the MC, they had some sort of chanting or whatever. So this is like an ancient spirit that's sort of going. Somebody shout out to Fable for, you know, schooling me on that as a young kid, and it makes even more sense now. You know, as I get older and as an older man, when I look at it, I'm like, well, hip hop is just a word to describe this, but this is just an energy, right?
Well, yeah, if I'm looking at some of these, like I'm looking at some of this history stuff, and you know, like for example, I think a couple of things you said, which I didn't realize, but now I can tie together. Like I knew it was New York was a big basis of it, South Bronx, all that. But then, you know, in Africa Bambaataa, of course, there's credits to all the Zulu Nation and all these people that you hear about through there. And I'm mentioning some of these because I think that especially younger generations that might be more into EDM and sort of occasional hip hop, I'm not sure they ever maybe have taken the time to or been guided to go read about some of that history, because it's a very unique like foundation to all this stuff you're talking about. And then the part I didn't realize, I was looking at this thing about some groups like called the Ghetto Brothers, apparently a Puerto Rican group, because you mentioned going to Puerto Rico and having some formative time there and whatnot. And I hadn't really realized that there might be that much tie, you know, with that side of things. And there's a whole history of all the music and Grandmaster Flash and Beastie Boys and all that jazz as it kind of goes along. But
yeah, it's definitely got a rich history there. You know, it's definitely interesting. You know, it's true because a lot of the EDM kids haven't heard much like '90s rap, or they're listening to more like the mumble rap or the trap rap now that's popular nowadays.
Yeah. Well, in my mind, like the R&B, you know, there's great R&B in its own right, and the Motown influence, and there's some good trap and there's some good whatever. But in my mind, none of those really embody that original hip hop culture. So I guess that's what I was kind of going for there is that original hip hop definition, which is still, like you said, hasn't really changed.
No, it's still the same. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's very different. I got to tell you, if for any, not for you, but for anybody, you know, listen, if you've never been to like a B-Boy summit or even like a sneakerhead summit where they're going to have B-Boying or an exhibition or something like that, you got to go do it in your lifetime, man. Because it's like, it just totally changes, like anything you thought you knew about hip hop culture will be revised in that experience. I'm pretty sure I could guarantee that.
Definitely.
Yeah. And just the youth that gets into it, you know, like the couple that I've been to, like I was blown away at, like there'll be kids 9 years old, 8 years old, shredding it up, you know, and I can't really evaluate, you know, their skills as a judge like you could, but it's definitely fun and it's inspiring to see, you know, anywhere from 5 years old to, you know, some historic people from that neighborhood, you know, when I went to like the ones up in New York a few times. So.
Best show.
Interesting respect with all that. Cool, man. Well, what about so on the DJing side, like and the man, you got too much to talk about, dude. You got the hip hop B-boy life. You got the, I think the DJing came next, right? And then the labels later, right? And the party.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Tell me about the DJing part. How'd you get into it and all that stuff, man?
All right, so I mean, you know, like I said before, so I started breakdancing to like to this, you know, to this type of music, and I mean, even in the b-boy jams, I really wouldn't like that kind of music as well to go off. I prefer like, you know, electronic breaks. You know, I like new school breaks, Florida breaks, Miami bass, electro, all of that. I was just more. I mean, I know there's like, you know, there's a list of everything, but there's like definitely a list of like, you know, the top 20 b-boy tunes ever. Like, did some of those influence you getting into the DJ side? No, not at all. What got me more, well, actually, you know, when I was younger, and in Puerto Rico, like I would go and collect like vinyl, and you know, I didn't have like turntables, but whatever, I just mess around, whatever, with, you know, I was definitely around DJs my whole life too. I had a DJ in my crew that, you know, was a turntablist as well, and so I was definitely always around it. But yeah, I always liked electronic breaks and stuff like that. When I really got like the light bulb, like, yo, you need to start doing this right now, was my first time at Burning Man was in 2005. And I went in 2005, and I saw through b-boying, through somebody I met through b-boying, they told me about it. You gotta go, and then.
How funny is that, man?
I ended up going to Burning Man with some. I'm also a Kundalini yoga instructor. We could talk about that for another time. So I ended up going with some yogis to Burning Man. And while I was there, that was an amazing, life-changing experience. But we'll keep it to the musical part about it.
You say you were a Yoda instructor?
Yoga instructor.
Not Yoda. Get it together, Wes.
So I saw like Adam Freeland out there. I saw Lauren, who later became Bass Nectar, out there, and I saw Freak Nasty out there as well, and a bunch of other people too. And it was just, the music was amazing. I felt like I was in heaven. Like I had just moved to LA from Miami, and you know, I was missing breaks and missing my, like, you know, like that type of music. It wasn't really big or popular in LA, so to go into like a huge place like this and like hear that everywhere was just like, And yeah, I was there and listening to this and like, you know, like recognizing, I remember during Freeland's set and Freak Nasty set, like recognizing a lot like different tunes. He played some like Miami stuff, like some Jekyll and Hyde stuff like that. And I'm like, yo, like I was like, yo, like I need to do this. Like I can.
I would definitely, yeah, I mean, for me, man, that like I would definitely share with you like that. Definitely, in terms of breakbeat, like pure breakbeat influences to me, like for sure, Adam Freeland. The first time I heard that dude play, it was just very different than I had really heard, I guess, any DJ play, but much less with that style. And I remember that being pretty mind blowing. And then, and that was more just from like the flow of a DJ set and the crowd kind of thing, I guess, with the style of music. And then from a pure like sound perspective, I'll never forget the first time I heard Freak Nasty play, dude. I was just like, this is insane, man. I was like, this is just, it's like, it's completely insane. It was like someone came from outer space and was like twisting all the knobs, you know? Like, and I was just like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
By,
you know?
By the way, I do notice your shirt with the Yoda, so maybe you got really that's an awesome shirt. You got excited about
yeah. Clearly, that was the joke. You got it.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Every now and then we have a couple minute delay, but it was really through the beatboying introduction to Burning Man, and then that's what got you deciding to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, through the b-boying, like I was, you know, I was doing my yoga at the time, and I was really like wanting also probably like just also like another creative outlet. You know what I mean? To express myself, and yeah, it just seemed like the best thing. So yeah, shortly after Burning Man, got some decks and was like, yo, started getting lots of vinyl and just practicing a lot. Then I a few years later, I ended up moving back to Miami, and I was spinning some gigs, like some little like some raves and stuff like that for like younger kids too. Dubstep was really popular then too, so I would do it burner style, start my set with dubstep, go into breaks, and like, you know, sometimes end in drum and bass, like perfect, you know. But so I was doing that for a little bit, and I've been doing events for years and promoting as well. And it was just kind of like, oh, all right, you know what? Like after my first conference, like actually spinning a few gigs and everything, I was like, yo, like I'm gonna start doing like a monthly, or at least, you know, once a month, I'm gonna do like a breaks party of some kind. So I started doing that. I brought out my friend Decline, who, funny enough, I actually also met through b-boying. In 2003, we were at the UK B-Boy Championships, which was one of the biggest world battles, whatever. And after the battle, Decline and his friends came to our room and to meet us and hang out, and we chilled and whatever. And he was like, "Oh, you're from Miami? You like breaks or whatever?" And I was like, "Yeah, I like breaks." And he gave me like a Rat Records CD, and we kept in touch through like MySpace and all that. I didn't really catch him when he was first starting to come to Miami for conference, because I was living in LA. And then when I moved back to Miami, it was like bada boom, bada bing, connect the dots, here we go. And so I started doing my own parties at a few different places and working with different promoters and DJing different events. I got a residency at Chalk, which was a club on South Beach that was pretty awesome, because they were letting us do like breaks every Saturday, like and it was right there on South Beach. And so I had a residency there for about a year, and then eventually decided to start my own monthly event series, Breaksgiving, which later turned into my label.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's like the Breaksgiving empire.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, dude. So the label, man, what's going on there? Like, I took a quick look today. Definitely, you know, you guys have been popping things out, you know, like you started like what, 2 years ago?
2 years ago with the label. The event's been around for 3 years now. Monthly events for different people, such as yourself and other artists like freestylers, Lady Wax, not too long ago. Decline's coming back next month. We've had Keith Mack. We had Mafia Kiss make his debut here as a headliner. Had a bunch of heads over the years. It's been really awesome.
Yeah, it has been cool.
Icon was another mutual friend of ours.
What's that?
We had Connie Icon out here as well.
Oh, right. Totally. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome. So yeah, I was checking out the releases. I think you guys have like, it's a lot, man. Like one, I don't know, 20. It looks like maybe
a little bit less than that. So we'll be at 18 real soon. We have 2 coming out. Brain Killer just did a tune. I think it's gonna be his last tune, possibly. I'm not sure if he has any other releases pending on any other labels, but he's taking a break from the break scene and working on some other projects. So so
where's he from? Brain Killer. Where's he from?
Spain.
From Spain?
He's from Malaga. Malagueño.
Have you made it over there to play yet, dude?
Yes, I played there. 4 times. I played there last year. Last year I spent Halloween there.
I remember seeing some videos. Yeah.
Yeah. I was dressed as a stormtrooper pilot.
Right.
As a rebel X-wing pilot. Yeah.
That's a crazy scene as well. I would have to for me, I would have to say my 3. I mean, I'll just pick 3 because they come to mind, but definitely St. Petersburg, Russia, Cadiz in Spain, and then Breakfast of Champions in San Francisco. Those are without a doubt my 3, the 3 craziest parties. I have a special place for Electric Love Festival in Canada too, because I've been there. I've been there every time they've had the festival since it started. So that's it's definitely a great party. It's a different thing though, because it's 3 days. It's not like the same as a club night, but yeah, those are like my top spots, man. It's funny it's funny that you and I have both played all the same places.
Yeah, pretty much. I haven't done Electric Love Festival. It looks really cool. I'd love to check it out sometime or play in Canada. Also, Shambhala I heard is really awesome too. But yeah, I would agree with you. My top.
You gotta hit up Oliver Play, man. He's with the. We've had him on here before.
Great.
Yeah, he's with Electric Love Festival. He's like the dude that does the curating and manages the whole thing. So hit him up, hit him up on Facebook.
Yeah. We'll link after all this. But yeah, so back to what you were saying. Yeah, I would definitely say, St. Petersburg, Russia. I played a few different places in Spain. I played, my first one was in Sevilla. At Fanatic. My second one was was on Halloween festival. Declan was out there. A bunch of people were out there. Who else did they have out there? They had DJ Quest. They had Autobots. They had just a bunch of people. It was really fun, man. It was really big. That one was a really great party too. My favorite one was in Granada. And Granada is just an amazing city. It's kind of like, it has like the Arab influence. It has like that big castle. That's where Alhambra is and Alcazaba. And it's like, you can really get like the Moroccan feel to it, but it's almost like a Harry Potter village. It's fucking beautiful. And I'm sorry for dropping the F-bomb, but yeah. And so that
we lost our children following a long time ago.
Oh, that's good. They're all in bed now. Yeah. And so anyway, so yeah, that one was probably my favorite one in Spain. And then other than that, Burning Man was amazing. I actually ended up playing the night after you in the Dusty Rhino, and I ended up having like a 5-hour sunrise set while the pyramids were burning, and it was like the most epic, surreal. It was just one of those like whoa moments. So that totally made my burn. And that and Dancetronauts, of course, too. And I had a great time, man.
I connected with those guys. I connected with the Dancetronauts. That's one I would like to do, but they said they didn't do anything out of the burn this year. I didn't see them doing anything out there.
Yeah, they didn't come this year. I didn't make it this year either. I had planned to go, and things just wasn't in the cards this year, so it just didn't happen. But
I got to do Duck Pond's opening night this year. And,
what's that now?
The Duck Pond.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got to do their opening party this year, and dude, that was insane. I had to add that one to my list of gigs too, as far as like.
You had mentioned that. I was hyped to play Slug Garden, man. I was talking to Dodd, and everything was like lined up.
Slug Garden's like definitely one of the legit like Esplanade stages.
Yeah, no, for sure.
The funny thing about Duck Pond is it's not like, I mean, it's like
Deep Playa.
It's not big, dude. It's not big, man. I mean, it's like a bar, but they just have they just have this reputation and history, and so their opening night party, like it turns into a block party. Like the whole like 9 o'clock roundabout, you know, is basically just full of people partying.
Nice. For everybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, this is Burner Talk. The addresses are like a clock. So
yeah.
Just for everybody listening out there. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Slug Garden was my favorite gig the whole time.
Go check out an aerial picture of Burning Man. You'll see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man. So, hey, there was something else. Yoga, dude. What's up with that? I'm trying to, you know, like I'm into some general fitness and health stuff, but a lot of it's running and surf and stuff like that. And I was gonna mention actually, like when you were talking, it was funny listening to you talk about the b-boy kind of the past and present, or you know, the couple generations, if you will. It's like surfing has a big schism like that as well. Like there was when it kind of went from the longboard age, which was really sort of the originators, if you will, in terms of at least Western, you know, U.S. popularization. And then when it went from that kind of longboarding sort of Beach Boys era to like the next gen that wanted to shorten the boards and do more tricks and things. And then there was like soul surfing kind of became a term because prior to that, really, when it was the beginning of surfing, really, it was all soul surfing. Like people that's what there were no contests, no way to make a living, nothing. So it was just people having fun and like real community, because it was just new and getting going, you know. And then when it made that first shift, it was cool. And then contests started and money started coming into it and all that. And then there's some really notable people, probably like there are in the b-boy world. There's some really notable people that certainly had some careers and made some good money when that started, but then kind of, you know, as politely as they could, sort of turn their back on the world of sponsorship, etc., because they kind of felt like it started to, at least third hand watching their documentaries and stuff, you know, they felt like it started to not be what it was about for them in the beginning. Which has that's got to be a tough spot to be in, because if you're doing something you love and then all of a sudden you're making a ton of money at it, but then it doesn't really feel right anymore. I mean, that has to be a tough position, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, you know, and I think I've definitely, you know, I love breaking and it's always a part of me, and you know, but I've definitely shifted my creative focus into music over the last decade, and you know, doing a good amount of both, and a lot of times I'm both DJing and doing b-boy stuff while I'm traveling, and it's great. So I think it's just really nice and a really good, healthy outlet for me too. You know, I'm still very involved in the break beat, but I'm not bashing my body on the floor like
right.
Yeah.
That's gotta be a little bit of an issue too. Just as,
hey man, 23 years will do it to you. You know, there's wear and tear. You know, so
yeah, sure. What about the yoga thing, man? So that's where I was kind of with that, was because like out here in Southern California, man. I mean, yoga's everywhere, but out here, there's a spot. I was talking before you got on here. I was talking with Kelly because my mom was in town. We went camping up in North County. Encinitas is a real popular area here in Cardiff by the sea, and but there's like a center there that, like, where there's like an area there where yoga, you know, kind of the very early roots of yoga in the United States, not worldwide, but in the United States, kind of is centric to that location, kind of being some of the first.
It's near San Diego.
Yeah. So yeah, it's Encinitas is the name of the.
I've heard of Encinitas. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a huge, like, dude, I mean, yoga and related spirituality is like just a massive thing in that area, and you can feel it everywhere. And there's a big, you know, self-realization center and this kind of stuff. And
yeah, I've been to the one it's in Carlsbad, no?
Yeah, it's just south of there, but there's one there too. Yeah, I mean,
I don't. It's like on the mountain, and you can see everybody surfing like down under. Like, is that one? Yeah, I've been to that one. That one's awesome, man. Yeah,
that's in Encinitas. So yeah, you know where I'm talking about. Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've been out there. Yeah, it's a really cool little town. Yeah, it's like a surfer town, but it's also like there's a lot of yoga, a lot of like natural food stuff. It's a cool. Totally. Yeah, definitely. So I got into that. While I was traveling through my b-boy travels. I was in Spain we were in Spain in 2003 with our crew, doing workshops and getting in some battles and stuff like that and exhibitions. And I had tried like some other forms of yoga before. But I wasn't really like resonating with it as much, and I went and like I looked up something while we were in Madrid, and I went to a Kundalini class, and it was really different. Like I go in there, and the guy has a beard and like a turban on, and there's no like mats and stuff like that. It's just like towels, and I'm like, this is kind of different. Like what? And yeah, and it was just it's really, you should look up Kundalini yoga if you're familiar with it. It's just very different from other types of yoga. It's really more about like core. It's not so much about stretching, but just like like Kundalini yoga, Kundalini, and it's just it's really powerful. By the end of the class, I was just really wow, like I need to teach this. Like this was amazing. And so when I moved out to LA, there's a huge base in California, like you were touching on earlier, like Encinitas area, just all of California in general, really. But in LA. LA was also a really important place for that's where the master of Kundalini went to LA and taught a lot of like hippies when he came to America, like how to be able to experience these higher states of consciousness naturally. So so I really resonated with that.
Right.
I met my teacher in LA. Her name is Gurmukh. She's an amazing yoga teacher. She's had a lot of had a lot of success and a big career, and she's one of like the best yoga teachers in the world. And amazing woman. And I did teacher training with her, and it's really helped out my life a lot. There's been some gigs where actually at that Burning Man I saw you at last, I was teaching yoga to the camp. That was kind of what I was doing, and
okay.
in sort of exchange of my ticket, if you will. So
all right, nice.
Yeah, so everything kind of yoga really helps out, makes your life life better, and it's good for you.
How long have you been doing yoga, or how long have you been into it?
Since like maybe 13 years now or something like that. It's like 2004.
Oh, all right, interesting. Yeah, totally. I was looking at some quick history about that place in Encinitas, because that surf point that's right there is called Swami's, and I think it's because it's named after one of the the Swami something or other is the name of probably the guy that was the yogi that was I think that's why it's what it's named.
Yeah, that sounds really familiar. Is that a restaurant or no?
It's everything. Well, it's everything now, because I'm trying to find the name of the Swami. There's several, like Satchidananda. There's like just a number. Obviously, it's like a first name.
So many Swamis,
There's gonna be a bunch, like Yogi this, Yogi that. But
it's like MC this, DJ that, B-boy this, B-boy that.
One of them. Obviously, one of the Swamis, was the presence there in Encinitas, and so then, as surfers do, the surf break is usually named like some location, so it's easy to find, Pump House or the Point or Bird Rock or whatever, or other names of like surf locations down here. So like Black's Beach, etc. So, and they're always funny because it'll be like you'll hear the name of the beach, and then you'll get there, and then you'll realize, oh, that's why it's named this. Like it'll totally sound like something cool, like short, because it's usually like a shortened slang term, and then you'll get there and you'll see like some small like statue in a park or something, and then you'll finally realize, oh, that's how it got named that. So because like pump house is one down here, and it's like literally a pump house, like a sewage pump house, so you wouldn't, like, I didn't never thought that when I first heard it, like I just didn't piece that together, and then you go get there and it's like a sewage pump house that pumps like wastewater and things way out into the ocean, from the beach. So it's pretty funny. But yeah, so anyway, that one is Swami something or other, the center there, and then the yogi, and then there's like Swami's Cafe and Swami's Surf Break and Swami's Bike Crossing.
Swami's Cafe, pretty damn sure.
Yeah, it's right across the street from it. In fact, I was just there this morning. Awesome food. Yeah. So there's a guy that does, check this one out. You might find this interesting. So if you Google this guy, type in like, Pacific Beach, free yoga. And there's this dude, you know, you can go like videos or images or whatever. And so there's this guy, yeah, you can see it if you just type in like Pacific Beach. That's where I live. So you type in like Pacific Beach free yoga, and this guy has like 150 people, dude, that come out, you know, and just basically do yoga like right on the beach. Kelly, you can probably find a picture.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely.
I'll show you like, I'll share my screen here and show a quick picture of the scene, the situation. So I'm telling you partly, so if you get out here, I'm working on getting on this, but like that's the like view from the,
how beautiful that is.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the beach that's like literally, I don't know, 2 blocks from where my studio and where I live. So if you ever get out here, definitely gotta make sure you hit that class. I think it'd be interesting for you.
Yeah, I took a class in San Diego once. There's somebody who like does the kind of same style. She's actually was actually great. Yeah, yeah, man.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. But anyway, man. So what else is what's coming up, man? Anything crazy coming up, or anything else you got going on? Not like you don't have 25 things you already, you know, that are awesome.
Yeah. So I leave tomorrow to Denver. I'm headlining Breaksgiving, which is thrown by the Sounds Bass crew.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Sean and those guys. So I'm really excited to go out there and play and experience what that's like and their scene. Yeah, man, I'm super hyped, yo.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. So that's your weekend, huh?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's and like interwoven with that. Earlier that day, I'm hosting a big b-boy battle. It's my event, Who Can Roast the Most, that doing with the promoter out there. And yeah.
How did those get organized? Like just basically like any kind of event or party? Like there's a promoter and
there's a promoter. They need judges with experience, qualified. You know, and or a host or whatever. In this case, somebody who he actually does the DMC battle in Denver, and just linked up with a local b-boy and wanted to bring me and my brother out, and you know, now we got this jam going on this weekend, and then awesome. It's gonna be a great weekend.
Yeah, and you get to travel with your brothers, your family, some. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man, totally. So excited, man. I've never been to Denver either, so it's a cool new place. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, go check them out, everybody.
Yeah,
cool, man. Kelly, what's up? Anything coming up for you? Anything going on? You and I already shot the shit on that one earlier, but what's nothing? Just educating.
Well, I will say that I will be in San Francisco for the New Year's holiday.
For super secret Agent 137 mission type stuff.
Yeah, something like that. I don't think I can say it, but yeah.
Nah. we got more episodes. We got more. Don't say anything. We got more episodes. Then we can like wait and just keep the suspense rolling.
Yeah, that's true. We got time. Yeah, no, that's my school break. So I try not to do anything that is outside of, or actually that is inside of school, because it puts me behind if I play shows. So.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, you got that busy student work life combo thing going on.
And plus I work full time and part time. So yeah, it kind of takes away from all the social life and all the DJing and stuff. So I try to like pick my battles and do really cool shows. And this one's winter break, and I'll have spring break coming up. So hopefully I'll get something great for spring break.
Sweet. I got lots of music releases coming out. That's what I'm focused on right now.
Yes, you do. You did that. That last one was really good.
Yeah, before you got on here, baby, I was talking about the party that we do down here, the Juice Day Out party. So we just did the last one for the year. It's an outdoor daytime thing. So we just did that. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, don't forget, everybody, Magic Carpet Ride. That's the CD of the last album. I was really stoked about that. I don't know if you saw, but it
oh, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, trippy.
Yeah, that charted. This thing charted in it charted in 5 different genres, which was you know, as you do things like in whatever it is you do, like I think artistic people, you kind of are always searching for some creativity. So that was definitely the most diverse like album I've done versus like a two track release or something. So a lot more opportunity to kind of explore things. But yeah, that charted in 5 different genres. Like I think it was electronica, glitch hop, house, electronica, glitch hop, house, breaks, of course, there's some on there, and then one other genre. I can't remember what it was. Drum and bass.
There you go. Hey, props.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. That was fun for me. That's probably the most certainly diverse and fun one that I've done in a while. But that's what I got going on, man. Releases coming out. Focus. What's up, dogs?
Yeah.
So cool, man. It's awesome having you on here. All technical troubles aside and all that stuff, man. You got like so much going on, dude. I'm glad you're able to get on here and really just hear a lot about what you've got going on. It's always different when we have people on here, and sometimes people are super talkative and sometimes they aren't. Sometimes we get into politics and whatever, but dude, you got so much exciting stuff going on. I'm stoked that you got to.
Oh yeah. So it's a crazy weekend. It's been a really cool time right now. I just had a release chart. I think we're like number 9 right now on Beatport. So that was really exciting for me. Going to Denver this weekend for Breaksgiving. When I come back, I'm playing in Orlando. I haven't played in Orlando in over a year. I just kind of wanted to like be just sort of be more picking and choosing about stuff. But I'm playing there. I'm playing at Peak downtown Orlando at Friday, and then the following day it's a back-to-back night for me. The following night I have Breaksgiving with Merlin. Then November 25th, we're at the Wynwood Dome, which is another version of Breaksgiving called Breaksgiving 360. This is like a huge geometric dome, like the burner domes, like Wes, like those kind of domes. So it's like that, and it has like visual 3D mapping all over it. My homegirl Cyber Pixie, shout out to Cyber Pixie. She does like like the VJing while we're doing stuff. It's a really cool new venue. So gonna do that once a month now there. I'm once a month on South Beach, and then I'm doing. I just did a Breaksgiving the beginning of the month at on Fort Lauderdale Beach. So for all the Broward heads. And just keeping it moving. Obviously, like the focus on like headliners and stuff like that is like on South Beach. We'll be back at conference this year too.
Cool.
Saturday of Ultra doing Breaksgiving again. The last two have like definitely been. You were there, Kelly. I think 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Martin Flex.
Yeah, Martin Flex. Mm-hmm.
Awesome throwdown.
I was there like 3 years ago. I think I came like 3 years ago at the conference party. Yeah, I was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's really grown into something really like, especially the last 2 years have been really amazing. And yeah, a lot of people were like,
you had Lady Wax? You had Lady Wax last?
No, I had Lady Wax. Last I had EKB. This last October, EKB was in town and we did like a reunion tag. I think you guys know my homegirl EKB from Seattle.
Yeah.
And the month before we had Lady Wax.
Okay, so you had Lady Wax, and I played with Lady Wax, and then Martin Horger, and then Wax had Martin Horger. So it was like Lady Wax, Martin Horger.
Oh yeah, she was with you guys before or something. Yeah, right,
I played in Charlotte, and then Martin went to San Diego, so it was kind of like that.
Yeah, crossover, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, so it was great to have Alex. Obviously I hadn't seen her for a few years, and it was just
awesome
and all that, and yeah, of course I wanted definitely to have a good time in Miami and experience, Miami and the vibe and all that. We were just recouping from that hurricane, so it was a little crazy. That
was wild, man.
That happened the week before, so but. Yeah.
No big deal.
No big deal,
man. Nothing like once everybody is at least accounted for, there's nothing like having a good party to brush that off.
It's true.
Yeah, everybody was dying to get out. Everybody was just getting their electricity back. Some people still didn't have electricity at that point, but so some people were dying to get out. But it was cool. It was good to have her, and it's been a pretty rocking year. We've had like I said earlier, we had Connie Icon out here earlier. We had freestylers, Brain Killer, Keith Mack, Mike Nice from Mike and Charlie. had some really good people out here playing Breaksgiving this last year, and just really excited for next year. Just gonna keep it going and
Yeah, man.
keep bringing this to a new audience too. I think everybody's pretty aware of like the stigma of like the breaks crowd being like an older crowd. One thing I can say with Breaksgiving, and like I think a lot of this has to do with my connections from b-boying and just from other avenues of life that in circles that I have around me, and just also like where we do the parties at. We're exposing this kind of music to a new audience, to a younger audience, and it's cool, man. They're a lot of fun, and we have a really good time, man.
Yeah, I think it's great. That's awesome, man. That you're able to, you're getting that work, and it's awesome that you're able to do that. It's great. I think it's totally cool, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, dude, and I totally agree with you. Like having some of the other connections, like the b-boy aspect and that culture, and it has its own variety that is really a bit of a crossover musically. There's certainly a common interest there, and even the fashion and just that kind of stuff as well. It makes it different. It makes it different than I think what like you were referring to, like what might be the stereotypical breaks crowd.
Definitely. Yeah,
for sure. And it's that way. That's great. You're kind of being able to cultivate that because, kind of in Russia and even in, San Francisco and some of those spots, even up in Vancouver, there's definitely a more diverse element than what is kind of stereotypically like, the Beatport breaks, quote unquote, like sort of crowd, you know what I mean? That stigmatism, if you will. But yeah, well, that's awesome, man. Cool, dude. Well, dang, man, I don't know. Sometime we'll have to, get you on here, and I don't know, we'll do like a yoga deep dive or a b-boy deep dive or something, and go all crazy into the details of all that stuff, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. What about you? Are you gonna come out for a conference next year? What do you got coming up?
I don't have any plans right now, man. We've got this conference out here called West Coast Weekender, and it's definitely not as big. Well, there's no like ultra music festival at the same time kind of thing, so it's not that many people, but it's a couple thousand people, and it just started. It's been 2 years. It's on its third year, and it's like the same. It's very close to the same time, so it's kind of one of those things where you got to pick between the two. And then if you got Burning Man as well. So I just don't know yet, I guess is my answer. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet.
True. That's what's up, man.
I didn't go to Miami at all last year. I went the year before. I didn't go at all last year. Just took a break. Did the West Coast Weekender and Burning Man, and also the EDC Vegas. So yeah, there's just a lot, dude. There's just a lot going on, man. Like you gotta. I don't know about you, man, but I can't go to all of them. I can't do it all.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what happened with Burning Man too. It's like I can't do all this. I had just come back. I was in Europe for a little bit. I played out in this like beach rave in Spain. I was out there doing some b-boy stuff as well too, and I was judging in battle in Barcelona.
It depends sometimes on what they are. Like some of them pay, some of them don't pay, and that's okay. It's fine, but you got to balance that. I can't fill up my whole entire schedule with, like free gigs, so it just depends on what it is, what's going on, But the nice part is there's so much going on, I think, just throughout the year in general and different people, and been really lucky to, meet a lot of people kind of like you around the country, certainly. And just, it's nice to have some options. Definitely cool.
That's the most rewarding part, I think, really, out of it all, really, is that you can, you have this sort of international Rolodex, if you will, and it can create all this magic and all this like all this connectivity, this network, if you will, and it just it's really once you have that and you start establishing that in different continents, different places, it's just all these just amazing things just sort of just start like occurring and happening, like they all just start connecting, and yeah, following it.
Yeah, totally, man. It's definitely a cool time to be able to kind of do these things and be connected. And travel is relatively cheap, and so it's just versus other times, and much easier to manage on your own and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely just all that stuff, dude.
So I want to get back out to Russia. That's what I want to do. I want to go back out to Russia.
Yeah, and the funny thing, like, is I'm sure this happens for you. Like, I definitely get, like, there's people that stay in touch with me, and I stay in touch with them that, that I've really become friends with. That I would have just probably never. I mean, I know I would have never met them any other way. Like, they might have bought some music or something, but I would have never known who they were, and maybe, and certainly vice versa in person. They might have known. I made some track, but they wouldn't have really connected that with, as a person and go to dinner or whatever, that kind of thing, whenever we get together. So it's definitely cool. And people hit me up, like people when they come here, I'm sure like when you go to Miami, like even if it's not even to DJ, man, like people travel through for maybe their normal day job or whatever. San Diego has a lot of, like Miami, San Diego has a lot of, conferences and
destinations.
Yeah, exactly. So, I found certainly a lot more of that than I would have ever expected, where people are rolling through here. Sometimes there's a DJ opportunity, sometimes there isn't, but that's definitely cool, and I totally love that part of it too.
Definitely.
Yeah. So it's good to
it makes you a worldly person. It makes you like a bigger, like a global citizen. You know what I mean? And it's just
yeah. Totally, dude. Totally.
It makes you a better person. I think it makes you a better person.
It totally does. You could do that just online, but it's definitely cool to tie the two together where that's a really funny thing to me, is to meet and correspond with somebody like strictly through social media for like a year or so, and then actually meet them in person. That's a trip, dude.
That is a trip. Yeah, definitely.
And that's a thing that, like, that's a very, speaking generationally, that's a very new kind of thing. Like, our parents would have never had that opportunity. Like, you never met anybody, like, what, pen pal or something, like, I don't, like a pen pal at the Mickey Mouse Club or something. I don't know how that would happen.
I mean, look what we're doing now. We're talking in little screens and videos.
It's
amazing.
Right? Yeah,
I love it. It's fascinating, man. By the way, this is the 38th episode?
37.
37.
Yep. Good number.
Man.
Just saying.
37. Before you know it, shit, we'll be like 100 and we'll
37.
And we'll be like 137 and like 100 years old.
Can I have show 137? That'd be awesome. Thanks. Let's just book that now.
100%, totally.
I'll make it happen.
100%, totally. Well, dude, I gotta wrap this up. I gotta split. I gotta go eat. My mom's in town. You didn't catch all that part before you got on here, but yeah, my mom's in town for another like 4 or 5 days. We've been hanging out, doing all kinds of things. She's awesome. She came to the Juice Day Out party and helped us barbecue. She like
I could totally see her doing it too.
We went to a concert. She's real into baseball and all this stuff. So like, dude, she keeps me busy, man. If you met her, you'd know exactly why I'm the way I am, dude. And yeah, I get exhausted, man, when my mom's around. She's like, go, man. She's like you, baby. She's like got all kinds of things going on, she's like farming butterflies and freaking yeah, it's like crazy, man. There's always something new going down. But I gotta bounce out of here, y'all. But it was awesome, dude. I was glad you were able to finally get in here today and kick it for an hour or so. And man, it's awesome, dude. Have a great time in Denver. We'll shoot this thing out around the social media and bump up your push up your Denver publicity a little bit. We'll kick that out there and make sure people know you're headed there. And
yeah, my Burning Man group is Denver based, so Denver
cool.
is San Francisco.
Yeah,
so
all right, well, Denver Burners, Saturday, Lincoln Station.
Yeah.
Saturday. We're going in, We're going in, Lots of great locals. It's gonna be awesome.
Hell yeah!
I'm so excited for the ending of this, by the way, because it's Stay Classy Yo, and you both are.
Yes, that's another thing. We share the yos.
Right? We didn't do this.
We're single-handedly bringing yo back.
yeah. It's a thing in Miami. After every word, you say yo. So it's just a thing. It's a word parasite, if you will.
Oh, we know, yo. We know.
We know, yo. That's awesome, man. All right, Dick. I'm out of here. Have fun in Denver, bro, and we'll pop it out there and mention it for you too, man.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys. Peace.
Stay classy, yo.
No.
Later.